Donald Trump is once again posting to Truth Social like Iran's regime is on its deathbed. And yet, Iran seems to be sort of holding out fine and continuing this war, while our own oil supply is closer to empty than it has been in 50 years. So here's what's going on. Trump is declaring victory over Iran's economy on Truth Social, but our own oil supply, which Trump said would be at record levels never seen before, is being run into the ground. Donald Trump posting to his Truth Social account.
Truth Central.
Or maybe it was Natalie Harp who posted it. Who really knows at this point? Quote, Iran is completely collapsing. All caps, multiple exclamation points. It's the format of the full meltdown for Donald Trump. And the whole point and the whole analysis is just that. Iran is completely collapsing. Now, this is coming as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is rolling out what he calls an economic D-Day for Iran. And Iran's currency did hit, admittedly, Iran's currency hit a record low against the dollar. So I don't think anyone is out there going, Iran's economy is doing great. Nobody's disputing that Iran's economy is a problem. But when you look at how Trump talks about it, he's not being sober or strategic. He's sort of spiking the football like the war has been won and like it's been this clean, costless win for the United States of America when it hasn't been. And the number that Trump isn't posting about in all caps is the number 41. Let me explain that number. The United States has 41 days of crude oil inventory remaining. That is the lowest level in half a century. Now, I'm all for getting off of fossil fuels, but the way we do it in an orderly transition is not by simply running out of oil when we're still dependent on it. It's about reducing our dependence. And so where we find ourselves is with the lowest level of inventory of oil in 50 years. It's not like the lowest in a year or even in the last decade. You've got to go back to the 1970s, since before most of the people watching this video were even born, to find a time where our oil supply was proportionately as low as it is right now. These are not conspiracy claims. It's kind of popular out there to generate clicks by going, we're about to run out of oil, or it's almost a civil war. That's another one that's really popular. But we have serious financial outlets reporting straight off of the Energy Information Administration's numbers, and they showed that crude oil inventories dropped another 7 million barrels in a recent week. Refineries are doing everything they can. They're running at over 97% capacity to try to keep up. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is our emergency stockpile, has been opened up, and that is below 300 million barrels, which is also the lowest number since 1983. Now, running low on oil inventory does not mean that gas pumps go dry tomorrow. But what it means is that if anything else goes wrong, we are in a really difficult situation. And of course, when you look out the window, I guess, depending on where you live, we are acknowledging that we are in hurricane season. And it could be a situation where when inventories are this tight, one big storm hits the Gulf and you have a real supply shock. Now, Donald Trump has acknowledged the stakes back in June when he clearly thought we would be out of this by now. Back in June, Trump said, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. Do you want to see bedlam? And those were Trump's own words and warning. But instead of working to fix that and ending this war, we are now in week 27 of what was supposed to be a 2 to 3 week war. Now, the bigger story that Trump doesn't want you focused on while he's typing completely collapsing about a different country is that you can't run a war economy and a normal economy at the same time without someone paying for it. This was a really clear picture during World War II. And right now, I think because of propaganda and right-wing media and social media and a lot of other sort of changes to the state of our economy, you can sort of try to hide it for a little bit. But even now, Americans at the pump realize what's going on. And so Iran's currency is crashing. Maybe that's something that Trump wants to celebrate. But for the average person who's just trying to pay for their electricity for air conditioning, or soon we're going to be going to the cold season in parts of the country, paying for oil for heating, or just filling up their car. It's not a big win for them that Iran's currency is collapsing. What would be a bigger win is spending less money on gas next month. And that's not the direction that Donald Trump seems to be pushing this economy. So he's very busy bragging about other people's collapses. And meanwhile, we do seem to be entering. I don't want to prematurely declare this a forever war, but we've got to just be honest about the numbers we've been given. This will be 2 to 3 weeks, Trump said. And then 2 weeks in, we were told it could be another 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe 4 to 6. But we are in week 27 right now. And so it's not a forever war. Even Afghanistan, which lasted 20 years, eventually wound down. But this doesn't seem to be winding down. And in the meantime, Donald Trump is alienating many of our allies, Canada being an important one, and we'll get to that later. But if you were simply to say, are we going towards the solution or away from the solution? It's definitely not obvious that we're going towards a solution or resolution at this point. And their behavior behind the scenes, Republicans that is, very much indicative of, we know we're about to get crushed in November and we have to figure out something else to do. That something else is making some Democrats furious, and I want to talk about that next. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.